Good morning, children. Welcome back to Business Studies e-learning class. Chapter 2 Forms of Business Organization. Previous videos we already discussed different forms of business organization. Its name we denote, that is a uh, sole proprietorship business, partnership, Hindu undivided family business, cooperative society, and joint stock company, isn't it? So each of these has its own merits and limitations also. So in previous video already we discussed about the first one, that is the first form of business organization, that is sole proprietorship. Its meaning and features of sole proprietorship already we discussed. So in this video we discuss the merits and limitations of sole proprietorship. Okay, let's start. So merits or advantages of sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship offers many advantages. Some of the important ones are as follows. Okay, first one, quick decision making. A sole proprietor enjoys a considerable degree of freedom in making business decisions. Further, the decision making is prompt because there is no need to consult others. This may lead to timely capitalization of market opportunities as and when they arise. Here, first advantages of sole proprietorship. Actually, what is the meaning of sole proprietorship business? Sole proprietorship is a business organization which is owned by a single person who bears the entire business risk, isn't it? So that is a sole proprietorship, a single owner only. So single person handling all that business. That type of a business organizations are called a sole proprietorship business, isn't it? So different features also we discussed: the single owner, no separate legal entity, this managerial control is in everything in his hand, unlimited liability, capital contribution also himself he is doing. So formation and closure is very easy. So these things we discussed. So now first thing is the first advantages of, if you anybody starting this sole proprietorship business, then first advantages is that is a quick decision making. So he can take a decision making very quickly. Why? Because no need to consult to others. He can only take decision in his own way. So quick decision making is possible. But in the case of a partnership case, then definitely different partners are there. So they want to discuss and they want to take one decision. But in the sole proprietorship business, no need of such a consultation with others. So he can take a decision by himself. That is the first benefit, quick decision making. So a sole proprietor enjoys considerable degree of a freedom in making business decisions. Further, the decision making is prompt because there is no need to consult others. This may lead to timely capitalization of market opportunities as and when they arise. So according to the opportunity which he can take decisions regarding the business related things. Okay. So second advantages of merits of a sole proprietorship, that is confidentiality of information. Now, all information regarding this business is in a, he can maintain a confidence base. Okay, so no need to share to any other person. So sole decision making authority enables the proprietor to keep all the information related to business operation confidential and maintain the secrecy. That is the advantages. So he can maintain the means related with all the information related to business operations confidential ways he can keep. Then at the same time he can maintain the secrecy. So that is the second advantages of a sole proprietorship. That is a confidential base he can deal these all decisions. So all information he can keep in secret ways. A sole trader is also not bound by law to publish the firm's accounts. So sole trader is also not bound by law to publish a firm's account. But in the case of joint stock company case, this is a compulsory law. It is supporting to publish the firm's account. But in the case of sole proprietorship, this is not supported by the law also for publishing firms' accounts. Now, uh, third objective, that is direct incentive. Direct incentive. So here direct incentive means, what is the meaning of incentive? Means motivation to that owner. So he is the means a sole proprietor directly reaps the benefits of his or her effort, as he or she is the sole recipient of all the profit. He can alone, he can take all the profits of the business. So definitely the in his mind also, what it is saying, okay, that is due to his effort only he can earn this much amount of profit. So the need for the share of profit does not arise as he or she is the single owner. So means he is a single owner, so no need to share his profit. So he can take all the profit by himself. So this provides a maximum incentive to the sole trader to work harder. So this is the one type of motivation. So full profit who can take alone? The sole proprietor can take alone, take all the profits. So this is the one side of incentive to sole trader. Okay, then this leads to sole trader to work harder. So direct incentive. Okay, no one is giving any motivation to others. So he direct incentive to sole proprietor. Now next one is sense of accomplishment. So there is a personal satisfaction involved in the working for oneself. So personal satisfaction also will get, that is a sense of accomplishment in his mind. Due to my effort only this much profit is earned. So self satisfaction is getting. So there is a personal satisfaction involved in the working of oneself. The knowledge that one is responsible for the success of the business not only contributes to self satisfaction but also instills in the individual a sense of accomplishment and confidence in one's abilities. So due to this success of this business, then it not only is getting this self satisfaction but also instills in the individual a sense of accomplishment in his mind, something he acquired in his life. This type of sense of accomplishment will arise in his mind. At the same time, confidence will increase. So I can do, so alone I can do all this type of a business I can do by myself. This type of confidence also will increase in his mind. So sense of accomplishment is the another merits of a sole proprietorship business. Next, ease of formation and closure. This is already we discussed in this feature also. Formation and closure is very easy. No legal formalities not required. A few cases only license is required, but in other no such a high legal formalities are not required for starting a business. At the same time that he is not ready to continue that business, he or she, then definitely he can close that business very soon. So no formality is required for closing that business. So in such a point of view, that is also advantages of sole proprietorship business. So ease of formation and closure. An important merit of a sole proprietorship is the possibility of entering into business with a minimal legal formalities. That is the first advantage, entering into the business with a minimal legal formalities. There is no separate law that governs sole proprietorship. So no separate law is formed for sole proprietorship, as the sole proprietorship is the least regulated form of a business. It is easy to start and closure the business as per the wish of the owner. So this is a formation and closure is very easy. Why? This is a sole proprietorship is the least regulated form of a business. So no need of such formalities. So in that point of view, we can say this sole proprietorship business we can start. Closure also very easy. So that this is another important, so merits or advantages of sole proprietorship business. Okay. So next one is limitations of a sole proprietorship. So before going to the limitations, so once again we can see what are the merits of sole proprietorship. First one is a quick decision making. Okay, first quick decision making. Second one is confidentiality of information. Third one is a direct incentive. Fourth one is sense of accomplishment. Fifth one is ease of formation and closure. Next, we will discuss limitations of sole proprietorship. Okay, now we discussed the different, actually more advantages are there, but we discussed only 5 points in it, but certain limitations also occur. So, notwithstanding various advantages, the sole proprietorship form of organization is not free from limitations. Some of the major limitations of a sole proprietorship as follows. First one, limited resources. That is the main problem or limitation in this sole proprietorship business. Limited resources only means resources of a sole proprietor are limited to his or her personal savings and borrowings from others. How he is starting that business? Definitely from his personal savings, or he is taking borrowings from his friends or relatives, then only he can start that business. So huge amount he can contribute, he can't contribute as capital. That is the one of the limitation. So banks and other lending institutions may hesitate to extend a long-term loan to the sole proprietor. That is another problem. In the case of a sole proprietorship business case, a bank and other financial institutions also resist to give a long-term loan. They are not ready to give a long-term loan. So short term loan only they will give. So it means a huge amount of long term loan they are not ready to give to this sole proprietor. Then lack of resources is one of the major reasons why the size of the business is rarely grows much and generally remains small. So that is the point. So lack of resources is one of the major reason why the size of the business rarely grows. Rarely only it is developing. It's a very big ways. Otherwise, sole proprietorship business is a small one only. So generally remains small. Rare case only it is a very big base it is starting. Otherwise, small organization only they can start. Now next. Limitation of a sole proprietorship, that is a limited life of a business concern. So life of the business is also very limited. That is depend upon the owner itself, isn't it? If anything happened to the owner, any death, insanity, insolvency, happened to the business, sorry, it is happened to the owner, it is affected directly to the business also. So limited life of a business concern. So second one, limited. So the sole proprietorship business is owned and controlled by one person. So death, insanity, imprisonment, physical ailment or bankruptcy of the proprietor affect the business and can lead to the closure. Anything happen to that owner, definitely it leads to closure of that business. Okay. Now second limitations of a sole proprietorship business, that is unlimited liability. So this is another very important limitation, that is liability is unlimited. That is one of the feature we already discussed in the sole proprietorship business. One of the feature is unlimited liability. What is the meaning of unlimited liability? That is the firm's asset is unable, means firm's asset is not enough to repay the outside liabilities, then definitely whose personal property also responsible for, that is the sole proprietor's personal property is also responsible for paying the payment of that firm's debt. So he must bring that his personal property for settling firm's debt. So this is in such a point of view, liability is unlimited. Whose liability? Sole proprietorship liability is unlimited. A major disadvantages of sole proprietorship is that owner has unlimited liability. If the business fails, the creditor can recover their dues not merely from the business asset, that is, if, by chance if a business fail, creditors recover their dues not merely from the business asset but also from the personal asset of the proprietor. So in such point of view, the business asset is not enough to settle the creditors one, then the creditor can settle, creditors can also be the personal, means they can also use the proprietors asset also, personal assets also they can use. So a poor decision or unfavorable circumstance can create a serious financial burden for the owner. So that's why a sole proprietor is less inclined to the take risk in the form of innovations or expansion. So that's the main reason. That's why the sole proprietor is less inclined to take the risk in the form of innovation or expansion. That's why always this sole proprietorship businesses remain small. Why? Because they are not ready to take a high risk for expand. They are not ready to innovate new things. They are not ready to expand their business in a large size ways. Okay. So unlimited liability. Next point is limited managerial ability. So last limitation, that is a limited managerial ability. So the owner has to assume the responsibility of a varied managerial task such as purchasing, selling, financing, etc. It is rare to find an individual to excel in all these areas. So what is a limited managerial ability? Means the one person is handling all the items, isn't it? Means all the areas he is managing. So all area means purchasing area, selling area, financing areas, accounting section. So these all areas are by looking by himself only. In such point of view, he is not much efficient in doing all this work. So his decision also not in a proper ways in certain areas. So the owner has assumed the responsibility of varied managerial task. What type of a different managerial task he is doing? He is himself doing this purchasing work, selling work, financing, etc. It is rare to find an individual who excels in all areas. That means a rare case only we can see the owner is excellent in all these areas. But in majority case, the owner is not expert in all these areas. Thus, decision making may not be balanced in all cases. So sometimes in financing cases or accounting session cases, so he is not expert. Definitely his decision is not in a prompt ways. Also due to the limited resources, sole proprietor may not be able to employ or retain talented and ambitious employees. So due to this lack of money or lack of resource, he can't appoint a expert person in his organization. So his we can say limited managerial ability is the another limitation of a sole proprietorship business. So, though the sole proprietorship suffers from various shortcomings, many entrepreneurs opt for this form of organization because it's inherent advantages. So, we can conclude this topic like this. So many limitations are there, but then also majority of these business people are starting what type of organization only, which form of organization? Sole proprietorship form of organization only they are ready to start. Why? Reason is inherent many advantages are there, means compared to limitations, more advantages we can see in sole proprietorship form of business. It requires less amount of capital. That is the main reason majority are selecting this form of organization. Less amount of capital, best suited for the business which are carried out on small scale and where customers demand personalized services. So the best is suited for the business which are carried out a small scale, means those who want to start the business in a small scale one. So then you want to fulfill the customers demand in a personalized way service also you can give. In such a cases the majority are selecting sole proprietorship form of business. Okay, thank you. Prepare well. Be safe. Thank you.